Keeping your podcast or group conversations sounding smooth and steady is one of those tiny details that makes your show feel truly professional. Listeners absolutely do not want to be constantly reaching for the volume control when one person whispers and the next person is suddenly yelling. The simplest way to avoid that volume frustration is to train everyone to speak at a consistent level right from the beginning. But if you've already got a recording with a mix of loud and quiet voices, you can totally fix that sonic mess in post-production. This walkthrough shows a quick, reliable approach. First, you compress the loud bits, and then you bring the entire track volume up. We'll also cover a smart tip for turning that polished episode into snackable clips using an external tool without getting spammy about it. First things first, in this technical journey, you need to find the absolute quietest voice present in your entire recording mix. Play a section where that softest person is speaking and carefully watch your audio level meter reflecting on the screen. Make a mental note of the exact dB level where their voice consistently peaks. This is going to become your primary reference point. You want all your processing decisions to be driven by that softest, consistent speaker so that nobody ends up getting completely buried in the final mix. Now, zoom out on your editor so you can see the waveform for the entire track and then select absolutely everything from the start to finish. In most common editors like Audacity, Reaper, or similar digital audio workstations, you'll want to apply compression across the whole track, not just a small region. Head to the Effect menu and select the compressor, or locate your specific DAW's built-in compressor plugin for access. The two main adjustment knobs you need to focus intently on are the threshold and the ratio settings for optimal control. Set the threshold knob precisely to that dB number you noted earlier for your quietest speaker in the mix. That simple action tells the compressor to only touch and adjust anything that is louder than that specific designated level you chose. For the ratio, use a higher setting if there's a huge dynamic gap between the loud and quiet parts of your spoken word content. Something like a 3:1 to 6:1 ratio is a really good starting point for standard spoken word, so begin your test there. You can push that ratio even higher if you really need to aggressively tame those sudden, unexpected peaks in vocal volume. Set the attack and release times quite fast initially. Move them all the way to the left to begin your testing process. This quick reaction time helps the compressor immediately respond to any sudden loud syllables or sharp vocal plosives that occur. Make sure you do not engage any extra confusing checkboxes like makeup gain or any funny presets until you hear how it behaves naturally. The noise floor setting is important here. Set it pretty low, around -50 dB, so the compressor ignores tiny background hiss. Go ahead and hit OK, then listen back. The compressor should have pulled the louder parts down to sit more closely with the quieter sections. The goal here is true sonic evenness across the board, not creating a completely flattened or totally lifeless audio track. If it still feels uneven after that first pass, undo, and tweak those initial settings a little bit more carefully this time. Maybe adjust the threshold a bit lower, nudge the ratio, or pull the attack and release time slightly differently to find the sweet spot. Compression is as much about what your ears are hearing as it is about what the meters are visually telling you about the sound. Don't be afraid to do a couple of gentle compressions. Sometimes two lighter passes sound much more natural than one heavy-handed attempt. Once compression has evened out the dynamics, you'll want to raise the overall level so the track sits comfortably in your final master export. Highlight the entire track again and use an amplify or normalize function to bring up the general gain of the content. A very safe practice is to set your new peak amplitude to -3 dB, which gives you necessary headroom and avoids clipping. After you amplify, listen to the full track through quality headphones and then immediately on a phone speaker for the ultimate small device test. A quick troubleshooting note: if compression introduces obvious pumping or breathing artifacts, lower the ratio or slow the attack just a touch. If background noise becomes more obvious after lifting the gain, consider a light noise reduction pass first to clean up the hiss. If you have multiple microphones recorded to separate tracks, process each mic individually before bussing them all together to a stereo master. Sometimes, processing each source lightly yields a more natural overall result than trying to squeeze one finished stereo mix all at once. Okay, now, for the part most creators skip, turning that polished long episode into short clips that actually get attention on social platforms. You could sit there and manually chop timestamps for hours, but this is where smart tools like Vizard become incredibly useful. After you export your cleaned audio file, upload that entire polished episode directly into the Vizard platform for analysis. Instead of manually hunting for the funny bit or the hot take, Vizard's auto-editing combs through the file to find great moments. It automatically picks out moments with strong emotional cues, natural peaks in energy, or conversational punchlines that resonate. It's not magic, but the system is built to find those resonant pieces already in your content, saving you a massive amount of tedious work. What I like about using Vizard here is the seamless flow. You do the audio hygiene, and the tool handles the rest. You get great sounding clips right out of the gate because your source audio was already professionally leveled and processed. If you struggle with the consistent posting schedule, the auto schedule feature inside the platform is an absolute lifesaver for consistency. Pick your desired posting frequency, let the AI populate the calendar, and then just tweak any that need a final human eye review. The content calendar gives you one single place to see everything scheduled, move posts around, or drop in a manual post when necessary. Now, for full disclosure, there are other services that try to solve similar problems, like Descript, which is awesome for transcript editing. But Descript can get pricey once you start adding seats and advanced features to your subscription plan for your team. Also, Descript's auto clip selection isn't always optimized for short-form virality. It focuses more on making the long-form edit painless. CapCut is great for visual edits and keeping up with fast trends, but it is largely manual for batching and lacks integrated scheduling. Tools that focus only on audio leveling give you great sound but won't help you actually schedule and distribute those clips efficiently afterward. Vizard sits in that sweet spot, focused on turning long-form content into short, shareable pieces and making the posting workflow painless. If you need deep transcript edits or studio-level mastering, you might still use a dedicated DIW, but Vizard removes the grunt work. It removes the heavy lifting of clip discovery and calendar management so you can spend creative energy where it matters most for your show. A practical tip: always export your final audio at a high quality bitrate, like 44.1 kHz or 48 kHz at 16-bit or higher. Ensure your final mix is not brick-walled. Always leave that -3 dB of headroom we discussed earlier for safety. If you use music beds or intro stingers, export versions both with and without music, so Vizard can choose clips for different scenarios. Name your files clearly and include show notes or timestamps in the upload metadata if the platform supports that extra context. That extra context helps the algorithm prioritize moments you may have already flagged as being particularly meaningful or important to your narrative. In short, clean up the dynamics first. Compress to pull down peaks against your quietest voice, then amplify to that safe -3 dB peak. Do light noise cleanup ahead of time if needed, and remember to process individual microphone tracks before merging them together. Then, import the polished episode into Vizard to auto-extract high-potential clips and schedule them all within a single unified content calendar. This powerful combination saves you hours every single week compared to manually stitching clips or using a dozen separate tools. This workflow gets more of your content in front of people without turning you into a full-time editor or social media manager. Try running just one episode through this exact flow and you'll notice two things. Your episodes sound consistent, and you'll have a stack of ready-to-post clips. You keep control of the creative choices, what to promote and what to leave out, while the heavy lifting is handled smartly by the software. If you run into any weird sonic artifacts while compressing, just dial back the ratio or adjust the timing until the audio breathes naturally again. If a clip looks amazing but needs one tiny audio tweak, re-export just that segment with different settings and let Vizard ingest the improved file. This is the kind of practical workflow that gets your content out more often without sacrificing the quality your audience expects to hear. People respond to consistency, both in volume and in posting rhythm, so handle the first in your DIW and let Vizard help with the second. If you want, I can walk you through the exact Audacity steps or show a short demo of uploading a cleaned episode to Vizard for auto-slicing. Either way, start by making sure your levels are steady, then let the smart tools do the repetitive work so you can focus on making better conversations.